Hello my dear students, welcome to English class once again. I am going to continue today the lesson Narayanpur incident. We have already seen nine paragraphs of this particular lesson in which silent procession and spirit of patriotism, children taking part or school going children taking part in freedom struggle, and bringing of a cyclo-styling machine secretly to that patriot's house, that teacher's house. This is just a summary in brief recap of what we studied in our last class. So today let us see what are they going to do with that cyclo-styling machine. I am going to start today's class from the 10th paragraph, which is on page number 183. Keep an eye on that. So here the elder brother Mohan asked Babu and Manju to keep watch, to sit outside and observe and tell them if anyone comes in. It was night. They were doing the work secretly in their puja room. Why puja room? Puja room is such a room which is usually dark. Only a small lamp is lit, oil lamp is lit in puja room usually. In those days there was no power supply. So in that dark room, it is very easy to do such secret works. That's why they chose puja room. And even if someone comes in, they will not be suspicious about the puja. They will search all other rooms except the puja. That's why they chose it. Now, 10th paragraph. Babu sat outside, alert and attentive. He was very active, attentive that day. He felt a thickening in his throat. It was beginning. At last, he was doing something. What a pity. Gopya, Murli and others would never know about perhaps someday. So he sat outside, but there was some thickening in the throat of Babu. When does our throat experience thickening? You find something stuck here while speaking, and you clear your throat and speak. Usually when you are extremely nervous, scared or tired, or when you for example face your father, when he plays a report card in his hands, you experience some thickening in your throat and you clear your throat and speak. On that day also, or that night also, Babu was quite nervous. So he remembered his friends Gopya, Murali and others would never know about their work because they were doing it secretly in their house. He checked himself and kept eyes and mind on the road outside. It was deserted. So he kept an eye on everything, every movement outside the house. That means the road. The road was deserted. Deserted refers to not that desert of your geography. Deserted refers to it was a vacant. It was night, and in those days people used to sleep very early. Somewhere by 7 o'clock they would sleep. So that road was deserted. There were hardly any vehicles or hardly any person moving in that road. In a little while, the 9 o'clock siren went off. Babu thought for the first time that day of the war being fought all over the world. So at exactly by 9 o'clock, the siren went off. Siren refers to a long, loud horn which was used during British period to indicate time. In those days, watches were not there with all the people. Only a very handful of rich people possessed watch. So that siren went off at 9 o'clock. Even today, some of the big companies have siren. Siren is used before the work. Siren is used after the work. It is like a bell. Right? In school also we give bell. There it is siren, loud one. So when he heard the siren, Babu thought for the first time that the day of war being fought. He imagined himself that they were fighting a war against the British and the whole world is fighting a war for independence. And suddenly coming out of his reverie, he tensed. A man riding a bike got off and stopped right outside their gate. At that time, suddenly, coming out of his reverie refers to daydream. Coming out of his reverie, his imaginary world, he got tensed. What was that tension? A man riding a bike got off right in front of their house. He got off his bike, stopped right outside their gate. But it was only to light a cigarette, it seemed. So he found that the man had stopped his vehicle only to light a cigarette. Babu could see the match flaring, then the glow in front of the man's face. The small point of light moved as the man got on his bike and rode away. So Babu could see, in that darkness he could see match was flaring, the fire was coming in that matchstick. Then glow in front of the man's face, he could see man's face while the man was lighting the cigarette. There was a glow on his face, brightness on his face. And the small point of light moved. In the darkness, when the bike rider moved, he could see only the red part of the cigarette moving. It was so dark at that time. And he rode away. Ride present tense, past tense is rode, R-O-D-E, riding a horse. He rode a horse. One more bike. Babu flung himself inside. Manju turned a startled face to him. Someone is coming. So after some time, when the first biker went off, there was nothing. It was quiet. Within 5 minutes, another bike came, and this time Babu flung himself inside. He jumped and went inside all of a sudden. Manju turned a startled face to him. Manju turned a surprised or a shocked face to him. Someone is coming, he said. There was silence. From inside the puja room, their faces looked him blankly, the dim light giving them a peculiar look. So when he announced, someone is coming to our house, a bike has stopped just now, everyone was surprised and there was silence. They were all dumbfounded. They were all speechless. They could not say anything. And they were looking at him blankly without saying anything. The dim light giving them a peculiar look. In the dim light of that puja room, or giving them a peculiar, very strange look. They were looking very strange in that dark room. Shadows quivered and danced as the wick in the lamp flickered and fizzed. Their shadows on the wall quivered and danced. They were vibrating on the dance. Why were the shadow vibrating? Because the flames of the oil lamp lit there. The flame was vibrating. So their shadows on the wall were also vibrating. And dance as the wick in the oil lamp flickered and fizzed. The wick in the oil lamp. In an oil lamp we use cotton thread, right? A thick cotton thread which is dipped in the oil, and then we light it. So that is called a wick. In Kannada it is called batti. So that wick flickered and fizzed. Flicker refers to shine unsteadily, flickering. Fizz refers to become weak, small amount of light. Then Amma got up and came out, followed by Mohan. Suman stayed inside. Suman is his friend, Mohan's friend. Stayed inside, and Mohan closed the door of the room. Closed the door of that puja room. And mother came out to see who it was. Manju, go to bed. Babu, you too. So Manju and Babu were asked to go to bed and sleep. There was a knock at the door. Babu rushed to his room, unrolled his bedroll and threw himself on it. Babu went and slept there. A knock again. Who is there? Amma called out. Knock, knock, repeatedly. Mohan, go and see who it is. She asked her son Mohan to open the door. Manju, who had got into bed too, noticed that though Amma's voice was steady, her hands trembled. Manju, observed that her mother's voice was steady, loud, but her hands trembled, her hands were shaking. That is out of nervousness. She noticed it. Mohan came in saying, Amma, it is Patil. Who is that Patil? The sub-inspector. So, a sub-inspector had come to their doorstep and he was knocking at the door. He entered. Amma held Manju's hand in a tight, hurtful clutch, though her voice was still cool and calm. She held the hands of Manju so tightly. Clutch is to hold tightly. Why she held it tightly? Her voice was steady, cool, but her body movements changed. That she held her daughter's hands, tightly out of nervousness. What does he want? He wants to talk to you. Son said, he wants to talk to you. To me, the hand relaxed. She left the hand of her daughter. Manju drew her own hand back and rubbed it softly. Manju withdrew her hand and rubbed it softly. She sensed something because it was, held tightly. I haven't come to trouble you, a strange voice said. Your husband was my friend in school. I am a friend. The strange voice said, Patil said that I'm not come here to trouble you. I have come just because I was your father's friend. Where is father now? Father was imprisoned. The teacher was imprisoned. This Patil happens to be his friend. We were classmates in school. I am a friend. Amma got up quickly and went out. Manju waited a moment and followed her. Manju also went. There was Babu coming out of his room, making a show of having been woken up out of a deep sleep, rubbing his eyes, yawning loudly and repeatedly, mumbling in a grumpy voice, Who is it? So Babu also came out by that time. And he pretended, he acted as if he was in sleep. He was yawning as if he was in deep sleep. And he was talking, he was mumbling. Mumble is to talk within your mouth so that nobody hears it. Mumbling in a grumpy voice, in an angry voice. Who is it? Who is it? As if somebody has woken him up, as if somebody has disturbed his sleep. This was Babu. But nobody paid any attention, and soon Babu was taking in everything with the greatest curiosity. Nobody paid attention to Babu, but he was observing everything with the great curiosity. Next, paragraph 14 on the next page. The man, was he really a police officer? He didn't look like one in his dingy clothes. The man, they got doubtful whether he was really a police officer. From his appearance, he was not looking like a police officer at all, because he was in his dingy clothes. Dingy refers to dirty clothes, not fine clothes, not a tidy one, clean one, very dingy clothes, ordinary clothes. He was saying to Amma, yes, we were in school together. Oh yes, he was far above me. He was a scholar and I was one of the dunces. So he refers to the father, the arrested patriot. Now the policeman is saying that when we were students, we were together. He was far above me. He was very bright in studies, but I was a dunce. I refers to police officer. Dunce refers to slow learner. That police officer was not good at studies, but this teacher, arrested person, was very good at studies. He was a bright student. He always helped me to that their father always helped this police officer when they were students. God knows how often I would have been caned but for him. God only knows how often I used to get beaten. I used to get caned. Caned means beating. So I was so naughty, I was not doing my regular work regularly, so I was beaten up by my teachers. But for him, except him, he was regular in his work, he was doing it promptly. Please, Patil Sahib, Amma said, rather impatiently, she was getting impatient. Tell me, why are you here? Why you are here? It is like this. Suddenly the man was brisk and businesslike. Suddenly he became serious and he talked formally. His glance swept all of them. He was looking at all of them, covering all of them in his sight, taking them all shrewdly, taking all of them very shrewdly. He was watching them as if he was judging them. Certainly, this man was no dunce. All of them thought that the way he was looking at them, they thought that this man is not an ordinary man. There is going to be a search in your house. So finally this police officer declared, there is going to be a search, police raid on your house. Yes, sorry, in your house. When? Mother said, most probably tonight. I heard the Sahib talking. Who is this Sahib? Sahib refers to that police officer's boss. He was talking in a meeting that was heard by this Patil Sahib, and quickly he rushed to their house in order to help them. Had he not come to help them, probably they would have been arrested. Police would have found that cyclostyling machine. Now let's see what happens. They were speaking of a cyclostyling machine. It seems you people are making copies of Mahatma Gandhi's speech. They say you have people hiding here as well. So the police knows everything. From the secret agents, they have collected all the information. So they also know that there is a cyclostyling machine you are copying and all that. Mohan scoffed. Scoff is to say disrespectfully, neglecting that person. But you have the cyclostyling machine. No, repeated angrily. Mohan repeated angrily. No, we don't have it. You are wasting time spying on us, Mohan said to that police officer. You are wasting your time spying on us. Who is a spy? S-P-Y. Spy is a secret agent. You call him common language, CID or something like that. Spying it is called. Actually that, collecting secret information is called espionage. So, the man ignored Mohan and spoke to Amma. Yes, Amma replied simply and Mohan made an angry hissing sound. Amma did not want to say any lies. She said boldly, yes, we have cyclostyling. But that was not liked by Mohan. He got angry. Where is it? Amma, you have gone inside. Where is it? He said, Amma, you go inside. Manju's heart began beating wildly. Manju's heart was beating very, very wildly, very loudly because of fear. Why was Amma giving them away? Give it to me. Why was Amma giving that to police officer? Give it to me. Give it to me. Police officer said, give it to me. I'll get it out of the way. I'll take it out now. And after the police come here, after they go from here, I'll bring it back after the raid. You can have it when it is safe. Mohan burst out again. Amma, what are you doing? How can you trust a policeman? He will definitely cheat us. He will definitely backstab us. Don't trust a policeman. He is one among them. Who knows, he is trying to cheat us. He is trying to play tricks with us. Don't give him the cyclostyling machine. Will be caught very easily. The man touched Mohan on the shoulder. Mohan, you are still very young. You are not experienced. There are many things you don't understand. Only elderly people understand. I am a policeman. Yes. But your father was and still is my friend. I am not doing this as a policeman. I am doing this for my friend in order to safeguard my friend's family. And this is my country as much as it is yours. As I told you, though people were working for the British, within their hearts, they were having true patriotism and they helped the families of the patriots. This is one example. He said, now I have come here as a patriot. I love my motherland. That's why I am here, just like you. Now give it to me quickly. They may come any moment. Amma opened the door of the puja room and said, Suma. Suman emerged, wiping her face with her sari, looking anxiously at them. Come inside. Amma beckoned to the man. Amma said to the policeman, come. Beckon is to do hand movement to call somebody. So, it is here. What is there? Cyclostyrene machine. Suman stared at Amma and the man in bewilderment. Bewilderment refers to surprise, not knowing anything. Amma smiled at her and said, You have got to get away, Suman. Take away all the material, Mohan, will you? So all the materials were cleared, cyclostyrene machine, ink bottle, other tools, papers, all materials were moved and they emptied the puja room. Mohan stared at Amma, at Suman and finally at Patil, who stared steadily back at Mohan. And suddenly the two smiled at each other. Okay, Amma, Mohan said and ducked into the puja room. Duck is to enter and move quickly into the puja room. He lugged the machine out and gave it to Patil. He pulled the machine from the puja room and handed it over to Patil. Do you have a largish bag with you? The man asked. Do you have a considerably large bag in order to put it in and carry it? Manju, Amma began, but Babu had already got it. Babu had already kept it ready. That's fine, the man said. And then they were gone. Patil, Mohan, Suman, all the three of them went away. The house seemed unbelievably quiet. Quiet after the earlier intense activity. Now the house became silent once again. Let's go back to bed. Amma suggested. Mohan came back shortly. After some time, Mohan came back. Suman, Manju asked him anxiously. She is all right. Suman is all right. Go to bed, Manju. Amma said. Bed? With the police about to come, how can you sleep? The police is about to come. But nevertheless, she did drop off at some time and came out of her seat with a jerk to hear a loud knock at the door. She heard another knock at the door, jerk at the door to hear, she heard a knock. And it was repeated, the knock was, the policemen were knocking repeatedly. Manju sat up in sudden fright. Fright means fear. Amma patted her comfortingly, consoled her. Who is it? She asked loudly. Open the door. A strange voice ordered from outside. Open the door. Mohan, see who is it? Amma said. Who it is? It was like going through something all over again. It was like the same, repetition of the same situation. Just a couple of minutes ago, police had come, they talked and he went away. Once again, the police were at their doorstep. But this time, they knew for sure it wasn't a friend standing out there. No need for Mohan to announce, Amma, it's the police. Previously, when there was a knock, they were unaware of this Patil. They did not know that Patil would come and knock at the door. But second time, they were sure that it was none other than the police force. So, without any doubt, they came to know that it was none other than the police and other constables who were knocking at the door to raid the house. And they made their raid and found nothing. So the entire family was saved by the Inspector Patil. had he joined hands with the British, probably the family would have been in danger. But here he helped the family because he himself was a patriot. He himself wanted to end the British rule. That's why he heard his boss talking about the raid. Without wasting time, he rushed to his friend's house, convinced the family, won the faith of his family, and made them hand over that cyclostyming machine. And he moved away with the cyclostyming machine and other materials. So this is how we study the Narayanpur incident of 1942, that was during the times of Quit India movement. Hope you have understood the lesson very well. Study all the paragraphs once again. Study them repeatedly. Please do read the textbook whenever you sit for revision work. Then read notes, and there are a few questions to be answered, which will be sent to you via WhatsApp. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.